What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial. I am Matt Milstead, and today we are going to be going over how to create a ride-on effect in Cinema 4D, very similar to the stroke effect in After Effects. So, what I was given this logo right here, and as you can see, it's kind of got some swoopies and some swirlies to where we could easily write this on. This is from a friend of mine. He's a photographer. He does senior photography, Jared Ray. Check him out if you can. He does really good work. So he lent us this logo, which I will put up on the website for you to use if you want, or you can use your own thing. So we're going to take this logo, this Illustrator logo, and we are going to do a ride-on effect, as you can see right here. A little bit of shine at the end. So we didn't do a ride-on on the whole thing, just on parts. You can see right for the R, basically, we had that ride-on the whole time. So, and had the rest of it fly in. Now you can use the technique that I'm about to show you to ride on the rest, but I wanted to kind of have a whole bunch of different stuff going on all at once to kind of add a little bit of make it a little different among the rest of the letters. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's open up our Illustrator file. Actually, while we're doing that, let's go ahead and set up our Cinema 4D project. Let's go into our settings, and we're going to make this, let's just go ahead and make this 720. 720-2997. We're going to do all frames. Anti-aliasing, we're going to turn to best, and we are going to turn on Ambient Occlusion. But I'm not sure about the settings just yet. We'll get into that in a second. So, okay, so we've got this file open, and what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to turn this into outlines. And it looks like it's pretty good to go, with the exception of one thing. Now, we're going to be, the parts that you're going to be having reveal, if there's two parts that you're going to be doing separately, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to separate the two separate parts. So we've got this part right here that's going to be stroking at a different time than this right here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to duplicate that layer and delete all the excess. So we will go ahead and start just deleting some of this stuff to get the right thing. That and then this will save you a lot of time in cinema. This is the biggest pain that I have found, is dealing with intersecting things. And then let's just kind of clean that up right there. And as you can see, I think we've got a second little dot here. Let's move that out to there. I think that should be good. Then we're going to want to turn that one off and then turn on our other one. And let's just lock that just in case. Just go ahead and start deleting all these ones in here. And then if we turn that on, you can see there's a little bit missing right here, and we can clean that up on one of the two. Let's go ahead and do that. So this dot right here, like I said, this is the hardest part that you have to deal with when trying to do this type of stuff. Oh, we got a weird dot. Clean that up. There we go. Is just separating the elements that you've got. Then we'll do that. Just kind of, whoops. That one just up a little bit. Then turn that off just to look, and that should be good to go. So now we've got separate elements for all this stuff. So what we're going to do, the rest of it doesn't look like it needs to be cleaned up. If you were going to go ahead and do the rest, probably this little intersection right here, if you were going to do a reveal on all of it, this little intersection right here, you would need to make separate, separate the two, and then probably, I don't know, maybe here would be good as well. So in the meantime, we're just going to do the R and all those swoopies that come down here. So we're just going to go ahead and save as, in our graphics, we're going to call this JRay main logo outlines. Save as an Illustrator file and save it as Illustrator 8. Okay, okay. Then we can go ahead and hide Illustrator. Now we are in Cinema. Let's go ahead and save our project so that we've got one to work with. JRay, we're going to call in our graphics folder C4D. I'm going to call this JRay. Now, file merge objects. Let's go ahead and grab those outlines and open those up. Hit OK. And then I like to just go ahead and throw this at 0. All right, there we go. Now you can see we've got the two separate stuff. And then let's separate the seniors ones and the logo one. So let's go through and find those. Looks like they're all the top ones. So here we go. We'll group those, Alt-G to group. We'll move that into another layer, and then the rest of these, we'll group those together and throw those up there. Go ahead and get rid of that. Name this Seniors. Then we're going to call this JRay, in which these may change a little bit as we go along. Let's label all these S, S, E, N, I. And then with this one, we're going to want to join the two together so that they make one. So select the two and connect objects and delete. And then the same with the R. Select the two, connect objects and delete. And this is O, R. And then let's grab this one just because I'm a little OCD about that. I like being able to see all of it. All right. Especially when you're dealing with like cascading objects, it's good to see them in order. Otherwise it makes it just really confusing. Okay, so we've got this as well. Let's see, and then what is that? Okay, so we are going to set these as separate ones, because you can see as it brought it in, it put those two together. Now this one, we are going to want to group together because it's the inside of the E along with the EY. So connect objects and delete. And then the rest should be good to go. So the ones that we are going to want to stroke, let's just go ahead and make those their separate one as well. Call that R. So the J, all right, that's good. Let's go ahead and extrude these. So come up here and do extrude. We're going to copy and paste. So we've got 3 extrudes. Throw the senior in the first one, or in either one, whichever you want to do. Object hierarchical, and then we don't want it to stick out that much. Let's go to about maybe 3 inches. I think that should be good. Yeah. Then let's add some caps and do fillet cap, fillet cap. Let's try 0.25 maybe, and then do 3 and 3. That should probably work. Yeah, that looks good. And then the J, we're going to throw into this one, the JEY. Let's change that to JEY. JEY. And then once again, hierarchical. And that looks pretty good as far as the depth. We'll just keep it at its default. But we do want to add some caps. Let's do some fillet caps. Let's see. Now constraint is going to be too much. Let's make this maybe 0.5. That looks good. And then we'll do 3 again. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's pretty nice. Let's see if constrain can kind of... No, still getting some problems. The biggest problem with constrain is you get some of these weird things like that, which you can go through, and I think it's just sometimes you've got some extra points that you need to delete. That's sometimes the case. Other times you just need to bring your radius down. So if we were to bring it down to like not even that. 0.1, 0.1. See, then it goes away, but you lose some of the good edges. So we're gonna go ahead and go back to 0.25, and then we're gonna take off the constrain and just have it extrude a little bit more, which is fine as long as you're not getting too crazy with it. So we want all the same stuff with this one, with the R. And I'm going to throw that into the extrude. R. Object, hierarchical, caps. We should be expert at this by now. 3, we're going to keep the same as the old ones. 3.25, and there we go. Keep it all uniform. Alright, now we're going to create a plane because I find sometimes, and you may do it differently, but I find that sometimes it's easier to create the good looking ambient occlusion and shadows in Cinema versus taking it into After Effects. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I like just creating my background in Cinema. So then we've got that, and we're just kind of getting everything set up so that then we can create our ride-on effect. Let's do a quick render, see what that looks like. Yeah, see, the ambient occlusion is really high right now, and we don't want that much. Let's turn this down. Let's see, we're at about, our size is about 7 inches right there for the depth, and that's probably the most we would want on our ambient occlusion. Basically with ambient occlusion, your maximum ray length, okay, so say this right here, the extrude is 7 inches, almost 8 inches. So your maximum ray length, if you were doing 8 inches, would be the same ray length as that. So coming all the way out here, which we don't want. We probably only want it maybe 2 inches. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's throw our accuracy up to 100%, and then let's see how different that looks. That looks a little bit better. We'll get some color on that, and then it should look pretty good. Let's see how this looks right here. It's alright. Let's bring it up maybe just a little bit more, maybe to like 4. And maybe we need to bring the plane a little bit closer. Maybe. Whoop. Let's see. Yeah, then you get that nice ambient occlusion here, you know. Yeah, and right along here. That should work good. That should work really well. And then we want the seniors part to actually be touching the background as well, or as close to. All right, and yeah, you can see it really well in the seniors part. All right, cool. Let's set up a couple of lights. Let's do a spotlight here. Bring that back, make that a little bit bigger. Bring it back even more. We're going to want to bring it up, rotate it down. Bring it that way, rotate it. Then E, W, so that we can go into local mode. And then if you hold down Command, that will duplicate it. And then that should be good. And then on this light over on the right, light 1, we're going to turn our shadows on. We'll keep it at 250 right now. On this one, we are going to make sure that they're off, and we're going to change this down to about 75. Hopefully that should be good. Give us some good shadows along with it. And we'll see what this looks like. That's not too bad. Actually, we might be able to lessen the shadows a little bit. Let's go to like 125 and 125. Or maybe the opposite way. Opposite way. So that's going to make it more crisp. Let's try 750. There we go. And then we'll do 100. And we're going to do a separate pass for shadows so that we can adjust those ourselves in After Effects. That's pretty good. Yeah. All right. So let's start putting some materials on here. Start with our background. Specular. Let's bring this high, wide, or not wide, high and thin. Our color, we're going to make this almost perfectly white. And our reflection, let's make the reflection about, because it's white. White, if you want a lot of reflection from white, you really have to make the number really high on the brightness. If you don't want a lot of reflection, for example, if you were to do 25% with white, you're going to get less reflection than you would with 25% with black. So with the lighter colors, you actually need to add more percentage on it in order to get more reflectivity. I know that sounds weird, but the more you play with it, the more you'll notice. We're going to start with 25 right now and see how that goes. And then we're going to, let's just go ahead and duplicate this one, and we're going to change our color to the Illustrator color, which we are going to find. I wish there was just a way to copy and paste in Cinema. One day they'll be able to do it. Not right now, though. 144, 25, 57. 144, come on. 144, 25, 57. Okay, and so you see, look at the difference between the white and the maroon. So you see a whole lot less reflectivity than you do in the maroon, but they're both at 25%. So see, with the darker colors, you actually need to add a little bit less if you want kind of the same reflectivity. Let's go ahead and throw these onto all of those. And actually, we're going to add a bump to it as well. And then in our bump, let's do a noise. And then in our noise, let's do like a wavy turbulence. No, not wavy turbulence. Turbulence. There we go. And let's see what that looks like, if that's too much or not. I can barely see it. If I can. Oh yeah, there we go. See what happens when we change these to cubic. There we go. Get more of that turbulence in there. Cool. Yeah, that looks good. You're seeing that right around there and around here. Okay, so I'm going to do one more thing with my lighting in order to add some more reflectivity. You might have seen me do this on another one. What we're going to do is we're going to create a sphere, and it's kind of like we're creating a sky, but we're not. We're actually creating a sphere and making that reflective. So we're going to create a new material to put on this sphere. We're going to take off color, we're going to take off specular, we're only going to click on luminance, and on luminance under the texture we're going to do a surface checkerboard. Click on the checkerboard and we're going to go 1 and 2 and then throw that onto the sphere. Now what you'll see once we get all in here is that we can create this nice, especially around the edges and the bump. The bump, you see it really well. Whoops. you can see that in there. Now we could do the same thing with the sky if we wanted, you know, but I really like being able to control it well with a sphere. I think because it's a little bit smaller, don't quote me on this, since it's a little bit smaller, it's easier, you get a lot more reflectivity, and you can really see it, I've noticed, on text on the edges, on the sides. They'll reflect the blacks and the white really well. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can see the good reflectivity over there. That'll be nice. Okay, so I'm going to set up a camera, and we're going to do a 3-second move. Here's where we're going to start at the end. Here's where we want to end. So set up that camera, and then hit a keyframe, and then start at 0, and we are going to start here. And we are going to rotate like this. So now we get, boom. Cool. It's a good little movement. Now I know you're thinking, wait a second, we haven't gotten to the ride-on. This is what the whole tutorial is about. When are you going to get to the ride-on? We'll get there. We're just setting up our scene first. You really want to do this first so that when you do your ride-on, you kind of have everything set up. So let's go ahead and we're going to take our J-ray and we are going to set a keyframe here, and then let's get off of our camera for a moment, and we are going to move this back here and do a rotate so that it then flies in like that. Let's make sure that looks good. Yeah, that does. And that's coming right by the, you can see it coming right by the camera, which is really fun. That'll look really good once you get some motion blur on that. Okay, so last thing before we go into it, we are going to want to cascade these seniors on. So let's start from probably about right here. Probably about 45. And let's set a keyframe there. We're going to go 10 frames ahead, set a keyframe, 10 frames ahead, set a keyframe. So this is where we want to end. 55, let's do our scale at like 1.25, 1.25, 1.25. Should be good. So then it like gets big, and then here we're going to set it at 0. So that it kind of rubber bands, squashes and stretches. Then on our timeline, we're going to make it kind of a cascading effect. Just offset these keyframes, just a couple keyframes. Whoop, come on, I, O, R, and S. So you see it kind of like cascades on. There we go. All right, now for the fun part. All right, you guys ready for this? All right, let's do this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start from a front view, okay? And then, let's save it real quick. We're going to grab our Bezier tool. And from our Bezier tool, we are going to start similar to After Effects when you're creating a stroke, where you want to do the pen tool and kind of create a mask path. That's kind of what we're doing with this Bezier tool. Okay, so then here, 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 we're going to go along, and we can adjust these afterwards if need be. And then we're going to leave this one for a second spline. So unclick, and then we'll go Bezier. We'll do that, and there. All right. Now, let's save that. And let's adjust this spline a little bit. Oops. Okay, so I don't think it would really matter in the long run because our thing is going to be wide enough to be able to handle it. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Okay, so we've got the two splines made of the stroke that we are doing. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a rectangle and we're going to bring the size down to where the thickest part would be, the size-wise. So you see this, the height of this square is going to be the height of probably about right here at the most. And so we are going to then sweep the rectangle around the spline. So if we were to look here, see it's like that, which is good. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with another rectangle. We'll just take this one and this spline, and we're going to sweep the two together. Where is it at? There we go. Boom. All right. That should be good. Now, you're saying that doesn't do anything. That's kind of boring. That looks dumb. I know. And so you see, this is kind of what we're going to be wanting to reveal. We're going to be using this as the reveal. So let's make sure that's good. Okay. And then let's turn off that sweep. That should be good. Now what we're going to be using to do the reveal is a bool. Now bools can kind of be a pain sometimes. A real big pain. They have a tendency to crash your computer sometimes. Now, one thing that we're not really worrying about with this is how accurate it is. If that sounds, I know that sounds weird, but we're going to go ahead and create a bool. Actually, real quick, let's just go ahead and duplicate this R since we've got the two separate areas. Turn off our sweeps for a second. We've got, turn off that one. We need not that area, not that area, not that one. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this one. And then, so that is just this area right here. And we're going to throw that next to that sweep. And then here we need to, bear with me, get rid of that one. Okay. And we're going to throw that next to that sweep because that's the first sweep. And then that's the second. So go ahead and save that. And then in our bool, this is going to be our right on. W-R-I-T-E on. Right one. Right on, we're going to call this big R since this is the big R. Now on your bool, before you start throwing stuff in, make sure and save it. And then there's one thing you want to click on. It's this high quality. We're not worried about high quality because it's just a stroke. You want to unclick this high quality because we're not worried about how good the quality is. Go ahead and save that. And then we're going to throw this sweep and R1 into the bool. And what we're going to do is it should be, let's see, let's go about halfway with this. Okay, so we want A subtract B. There we go. So now you can see when we do the start growth, it actually reveals what it was we were doing. And we've got some cleanup on this. You can see right here. And we may actually have to create these as 3 separate ones. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just do an easy way, right on, and then we'll just go through and we'll delete each one, or 2 of them from each. So we'll start here at 10, we'll make this one 11, we'll make this one 13. So then if we were to hide these, oops, we've got this one. This is just that small little middle area. You can see. So then we may have to adjust our spline. Or even, let's see if this will work. Here we go. Make the rectangle a little bit smaller. I don't think that actually worked. Why are we getting that? Because it overlaps. That's right. Right there. Okay, so let's go to our spline. Turn off the sweep, go to our spline, and we only want the areas that are going to be with it. Select that one gone, that one gone, this one gone, those gone. And then those gone. And that should be correct. Let's go to sweep. Boom. Yeah, there you go. All right, now let's do that with the other two. Turn this off. And then this will be the big one. Let's go to our sweep and our spline. It's going to start here, so we don't need this one, don't need this one, or any of these right here. And let's check. Boom, boom, boom. Done. All right. Let's turn these sweeps off right now, just so we can double check. Okay, so up here we got a little bit of a problem. And that's just adjusting our spline. Where am I at? Sweep. Let's see, bring that on. Maybe let's try making the rectangle a little bit smaller. I know it seems like a lot of work, but once you get it looking real good, it looks super clean. Still having problems with that. Let's go ahead and grab that. Let's see if we can do, well, let's just try deleting it. Well, that didn't do very good. Very well, I should say. What intersecting area do we have? See if that works. Nope. There we go. And do we have, okay, we do. There we go. Just need to adjust the spline a little bit. Now let's see when we sweep. There we go. Boom. Good and clean. But we're getting this back area. Need to make that rectangle bigger again. I made it a little too small. Now another thing that we're going to want to do, because if you notice when it writes on, it's got this gray. We're going to want to throw the color into the bool as well. Alright, so now we've got that one, and then we just need this other one. Let's see, let's turn off these two bools, and then we'll hide that bool, then sweep. We're going to go ahead and start just deleting these ones. I think that should be good. Turn that on. There we go. We're getting a little bit of problems right there, but we may not see that because it'll be right at the beginning. So if you want to clean it up, it all just deals with this spline right here. There we go. And then sweep. Boom. All right, so let's set our keyframes for these sweeps. I'm going to start here. I'm going to get off of my camera so that we can see. Whoop. Boom. All right, so sweep, let's go from 0. Let's see, we got 90 frames. So let's do maybe 40 for this first one. No. 45, let's do 30 for the first one, maybe to 50 on the next one, then to 90 on the last one. So 0 to 30 is going to be keyframe here, 30, do 100, okay, and then this second right on. Going to be from 30 to, did I say 50? Set the keyframe there. Set a keyframe there. So, and then from 50 to 90, we're doing this last one. Growth to 90. We're going to do 0. So now when we go to our camera, you can see, yeah, you don't even see a lot of the boom. Oh, that's right. You know what? I forgot about this last one. Let's go ahead to our timeline. We're going to take these 3 sweeps. We're just going to shorten our time a little bit to 60. And then this last sweep, let's go ahead and save before we do a bool, save after we do a bool, and save once we put the bool in. And we're going to click on high quality, unclick high quality. Let's make sure this is right. I think it's, yeah, that first. Go, and boom, boom, and no problems there. Start, end, 60, we want that at 0. So boom, boom. Looks pretty good. Let's see in pretty nice. Awesome. Okay. So let's do a quick render real quick. Make sure everything looks all right, which I think it does. And then that should be it as far as the write-on goes. We'll render this puppy out and see what it looks like when we're done. Now, one thing I do like, you see this line right here on the white? I'm just going to go ahead and take my sphere, and I'm just going to rotate it just a little bit so that we don't get a straight horizontal line. We actually get a little bit of a canted line on the reflection. See how that looks? You can start to see it right there in the reflection. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That'll look real good with a good vignette. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that. And then we are going to render out this beast. I'll put all frames, save. We don't want to do an alpha channel, but on multipass, we want to do a shadow pass. Where's shadows? Shadow pass. And then let's set this up where to save. J-Ray, graphics, render. Grab that, put that there. Photoshop, TIFF, PSD layers. Unclick that because I don't want multiple files or multiple layers in there. Into aliasing best, blah, blah, blah. That looks good. And then we're also going to want to do an object buffer on our plane. So Cinema 4D compositing. Click on object buffer and then enable buffer 1. So, you know what? Since we're doing that, create our object buffer, group 1, and then let's do the ambient occlusion as a separate pass as well. So, outstanding. Save, and let's render. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. All right, there we go. We got that one done. So let's go ahead and save this and quit Cinema and go into After Effects. Close down Illustrator as well. Okay, now that we got After Effects open, let's go ahead and import all of our stuff. Alright, Brograph, J-Ray, render, not render, graphics, render. Go ahead and do select all, do multiple sequences. And that was a terrible idea. Okay, delete. Let's do AO, TIFF sequence. We'll do object 1, TIFF sequence. And then J-Ray, TIFF sequence. Okay. Create a new composition. You can see that. That looks pretty good. Boom. Okay, and then did we get a shadow pass? There we go, shadow pass. There we go. And actually, it doesn't look too bad. I don't think we actually even need to adjust the shadows. So it's kind of pointless for me to render that out. All we really need to do is add some motion blur and a vignette, and I think we're good to go, at least on this one. So let's add an adjustment layer. Let's do an ellipse tool. Double click on that. Hit G so that we can adjust what it looks like. And then let's add some curves. Color correction, curves. That down a little bit. And then subtract. Feather, about 150 maybe. There we go. And then save that. Graphics. We're gonna call this J-Ray. Then we will do our SMV. Throw that onto J-Ray. Then you can see that motion blur when it comes by. That looks pretty good. With this composition, we're going to want to change it from that 3 seconds that it initially was. Let's go about 6 seconds. And we'll expand our adjustment layer. And then we're going to go to time, enable time remapping, and we're just going to extend this out to 6 seconds. So you can see, once we render, boom. Looks pretty good, in my opinion. You got that good ride on. Let's do here, end it here, just so you can see it. Ride on looks pretty good. Right on. That was terrible. All right, so there you go. Pretty easy little process, you know. Create your spline, then do a sweep using like a rectangle or a circle or something along that spline, and then using the growth of the spline of the sweep as a bool for your object. So pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little trick. It's really great for the ride-on. It's really great for like if you want to create like a mask effect in After Effects, then you would use that as well. But yeah, I'm Matt Milstead. This is Brograph. Make sure to check out our YouTube page, our Facebook page, our Twitter. We've only got a few subscribers to our Twitter. We could really use the extra subscribers to our Twitter. But mostly just subscribe to our YouTube. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us or send us a comment on our webpage. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next time.